She said it was just a car loan. I didn't realize my own sister had secretly buried us in $186,000 of debt until the bank came knocking. They say blood is thicker than water. But I've seen debts thicker than both, especially the ones you never knew you owed, racking up interest behind your back with your own last name on the paperwork. It started with a phone call. One of those sharp, bureaucratic rings that smell of paperwork and trouble. I was chopping onions for the stew. Winter was late that year, and the house felt like a memory more than a home, cold in the corners, silent in all the wrong ways. "Mr. Hayes," a crisp voice said. "This is Joe and from Millbank Credit Services. We're following up on your defaulted accounts." I laughed, genuinely, because I've never defaulted on anything in my life. My father taught me two things before he drank himself to death: pay what you owe, and don't lend money to family. I broke both rules, and I should have known that it would cost me. "Must be a mistake," I said. "I don't have any accounts with you." The pause on the other end was surgical. "Sir, your name is listed as co-signer on 5 credit lines totaling $186,000. I dropped the knife. Not metaphorically, I physically dropped it. Onto the floor. My hands went cold, and the smell of onions turned sour in my throat. "Who opened these accounts?" "We can't disclose that for privacy reasons," Joanne said. "Bullshit," I snapped. "You're telling me I owe nearly 200 grand and you won't even tell me who borrowed it?" She softened. A little. Maybe it was the tremor in my voice, or maybe she'd heard too many calls like mine to stay cold. "Sir, the primary on the accounts is listed as Ms. Samantha Hayes." "Samantha? My sister. The one who sends handmade Christmas cards. The one who cried at Mom's funeral and made everyone hot tea in the church basement. The one who told me, 6 months ago, that she needed a small favor, a little help with a loan application because her credit was a mess from her divorce. Just a signature," she said. "Just something to get the bank off her back." I trusted her. Of course I had. She was my sister. That night, I sat in the dark with the envelope Joe and emailed me PDFs of contracts, interest rate tables, forged initials that looked eerily like mine. Some were real, some weren't. But all of them tied me to a sum of money that could gut my savings and eat my retirement like termites in the walls. I didn't sleep. I didn't even try. I just sat there, staring at the numbers. My wife, Claire, didn't ask what was wrong. She's learned over 20 years to wait until I talk. She waited all night. The next morning, I called Samantha. She didn't answer. I called again, and again, until finally she picked up with that breathless voice she uses when she wants to sound surprised and innocent. "Hey, big brother." I skipped the pleasantries. "You used my name to open 5 credit lines." A silence. Then, "What?" "No. Wait, are you talking about the thing with the car? That was months ago, and it's being paid." "It's not being paid. It's in default. All of it. You owe nearly $200,000 in my name." Another pause. A deep one. The kind that tastes like guilt. "I didn't think they'd come after you." There it was. The sentence that would echo in my head for months. "I didn't think they'd come after you." She cried. Of course she did. And I listened, because I still wanted to believe there was some explanation, some freak accident, some mistake in the matrix that would fix this. But there wasn't. Samantha had used me like an extra line on her resume, something to get her what she wanted. And then she buried the mess. Under my name. I told Claire that night. I watched her face go from confused to horrified to furious in 3 tight stages. She always liked Samantha. Until now. "She stole from us," Claire said. "She's family," I replied. Claire looked at me like I was insane. "And what does that buy her?" "A discount on destroying our future." I didn't answer. Because I didn't know. All I knew was that the line between love and liability had been crossed, and I was the one paying interest. You'd think betrayal comes with fireworks. Screaming matches, door slams, maybe a broken plate or 2. But no. Sometimes it comes with a quiet Tuesday and a politely worded email from your bank. Claire and I sat at the dining table, our old oak one, scratched from years of kids, cats, and the odd drunken Thanksgiving. Between us lay 3 printed statements and a silence that could drown a city. "I called an attorney," Claire said. Her voice had that clipped tone she uses when she's keeping herself from yelling. "He says we could fight it, but it'll cost. And there's no guarantee." "Because I signed," I muttered. She nodded. "Even if you didn't know what you were signing." And that was the real knife. I had signed. 1 document. 1 favor for Samantha. I didn't read it closely. I trusted her. My little sister. The girl I taught to ride a bike. The girl who used to crawl into my room when Dad got loud. I stared at the numbers again. $186,000. Spread across 5 credit lines, all bleeding interest. Maxed out cards. A personal loan. A business credit account for a bakery that never opened. She said it was just for the car, I whispered. Said it was temporary. Claire didn't answer. She just got up, walked to the sink, and ran water until it was scalding hot. Her shoulders were stiff, controlled. That scared me more than any shouting would have. Samantha texted 2 days later. I'm sorry. I panicked. I thought I could fix it before it got bad. I didn't respond. Not yet. I needed to know how deep the hole went. So I started digging. I pulled my credit report. It looked like a murder scene. Inquiries, delinquencies, flagged accounts. And not just recent ones. Some of these went back over a year. That's when I saw it. A second address. Listed under my profile. A P.O. box in Atlanta. Samantha lives in Connecticut. I called the number listed under the bakery loan. A man answered. Sunrise Bakehouse, he said, chipper. I'm calling about the business line of credit under Samuel Hayes. A pause. You mean Samantha? Yeah, she said her brother was her financial backer. Her backer. Like I was some kind of silent investor. The rage bubbled up fast and mean. I could see it all so clearly now, how she must have spun me into some story, a wealthy sibling with deep pockets. No mention of my mortgage, my kids' college tuition, my thinning 401k. I drove to her place that night. She opened the door in a robe, mascara smudged, holding a glass of wine. God, I thought you were going to kill me, she said, trying to joke. I didn't smile. You used me, I said. My voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. She folded. Right there in the doorway. Collapsed to the floor like a puppet with its strings cut. I didn't mean to, she sobbed. I was drowning. I didn't know who else to ask. So you asked me, without asking me. That stung her. Good. It was supposed to. We sat for hours. I listened. I let her cry. And somewhere between excuse number 9 and apology number 12, she admitted the truth. She wasn't just broke. She was gambling. Not at a casino. Not sports betting. No, she'd gotten into day trading. Crypto. Margin loans. She followed some guy on YouTube who promised riches. She lost everything. Then she started borrowing. It snowballed, she whispered. You made it snowball. I was scared. So you lit a fire in my house instead of yours? That was the moment she stopped talking. I left without another word. I couldn't look at her anymore. Back home, I sat in the garage for a long time. Claire came out with a blanket and didn't say anything, just wrapped it around me and sat beside me on the cold concrete. We didn't talk about lawyers or debt or Samantha. We just sat. Because some things don't need fixing right away. Some things just need surviving. You learn a lot about people when you're broke. Or nearly broke. Or pretending not to be broke while trying to calculate whether you can fake normal until the next quarterly bonus. Claire and I started cutting corners. Quietly. No more date nights. No more weekend getaways. I canceled my gym membership, though I lied and said I preferred running outside. We pulled our daughter, Lily, from piano lessons. That one hurt. What's going on? She asked one night, eyeing the boxed macaroni like it was a clue in a murder mystery. We're just tightening things, I said. She squinted. Because Aunt Sam needed help? That stopped me. Kids always know more than you think. Even when you don't tell them. Especially then. Claire and I agreed not to involve the rest of the family. Not yet. Mom and Dad were gone. Our brother, Greg, was halfway across the country and barely spoke to Samantha. Telling him would feel like handing him a loaded gun. Still, the lie spread roots. At work, I started showing up early, staying late. My boss noticed. Thought it was dedication. Gave me more responsibility. I didn't correct him. I needed the illusion. Then came the envelope. It arrived by mail. No return address. Inside, a court notice. One of Samantha's accounts had moved to litigation. And because I was co-signer, so had I. Claire was the one who opened it. She didn't speak for nearly a full minute. Just stared at it like it might catch fire if she blinked. I thought she was paying something, she said quietly. Anything. She's not, I said. She can't. She's got nothing left. We fought that night. The kind of fight that doesn't involve shouting but leaves bruises anyway. I feel like I'm married to a ghost, Claire snapped. You're here, but you're not. You won't talk to me. You won't fight her. You just sit in this fog like it'll pass. I'm trying to fix it, I muttered. No. You're trying to absorb it. That line stuck with me. She wasn't wrong. I'd always been the fixer in the family. The one who stepped in, patched the holes, made sure everyone stayed afloat. But this wasn't a leak. It was a flood. And I was using a spoon. That weekend, I met Samantha again. At a diner, halfway between our houses. She looked worse. Hollow-eyed, twitchy fingers, biting her nail down to the quick. "I'm selling the condo," she said before I even ordered coffee. "You don't own it." "I'm trying to sell it. Maybe I can do a short sale or lease it out." "To who?" "Ghosts." She winced. "I know I screwed up." "No," I said calmly. "You sabotaged us." I handed her a folder. Inside were copies of every account. Totals. Payment schedules. Minimums. "If you don't start sending anything, by next month, I'll pursue legal action." Her eyes widened. "You'd sue your own sister?" "I'd sue my creditor," I said coldly. "You're not family right now. You're liability." She started crying again. Loud, public sobs that turned heads. I didn't care. I'd run out of pity. That night, Claire asked if I felt better. "No," I said. "But I feel clear." Because something had shifted. I wasn't going to save Samantha. Not anymore. I was going to save us. Even if it meant cutting the rope before it dragged us both under. You don't notice the moment something snaps. Not when it's something inside you. It doesn't sound like glass or bones. It's quieter. Like the final thread in a rope giving up after holding too long. I got the second call from a collector on a Thursday. I was in a parking lot, sitting in the car, half listening to a podcast I didn't care about. "Mr. Hayes, we're reaching out regarding the delinquent loan under your name. Are you aware this balance has entered collections?" "Yes," I said flatly. "And are you prepared to make a payment today?" "No." A pause. "Would you like to discuss options?" "No," I repeated. Because I was done negotiating with consequences I never signed up for. Let them send letters. Let them file lawsuits. Let them drag me into the courtroom if they had to. At least there, I'd get to tell the truth out loud. At home, I started sorting documents. Not just Samantha's mess, but all of it. Our mortgage, our retirement, Lily's education fund. I ran the numbers so many times I could see them on the back of my eyelids. We could survive this. Barely. But not if we kept pretending. Not if I kept shielding everyone from the truth like some noble idiot with a martyr complex. So I told Greg, our brother, the one who cut Samantha off years ago after she borrowed money and never paid it back. I called him, laid it out in brutal detail. He didn't say, "I told you so." That was almost worse. "I knew she'd do it again," he said. "I just didn't think you'd be the one she'd take down." Me neither. He offered to help. I declined. I learned my lesson. No more co-signing. No more family favors. No more charity that tastes like guilt. Then came the final straw. Claire found out Samantha had lied again. While reviewing one of the accounts, an old business card, we saw a recent charge. Not food. Not rent. A spa weekend. $1,294.67. Claire stared at the screen. "Is this a mistake?" "No," I said, jaw tightening. "It's Samantha." I called her. She answered on the second ring, chipper like nothing was wrong. "What?" she said. "Why are you calling again so late?" "You went to a spa." "A beat." "Excuse me." "A spa, Samantha." "With what money?" "Whose card?" Look, it was just one weekend. I needed to reset." I laughed. Actually laughed. The kind of bitter, choking sound that says more than shouting ever could. "I'm done," I said. "No more warnings. No more folders. I'm filing charges." She gasped. "You can't." "I will. I'm freezing every account. I've already sent the paperwork. I'm reporting the fraud. You can explain to a judge why you forged my name. You'd ruin me." "No, Samantha. You ruined me. I'm just finally stopping the bleeding." Click. After that, I expected to feel something. Triumph. Relief. Closure. But all I felt was tired. Claire came into the room, saw me standing there, holding the phone like it weighed 100 pounds. "You okay?" she asked. "No," I said honestly. "But I will be." She hugged me. Long and quiet. Because this wasn't the end. Not yet. But it was the beginning of it. We would still have to fight the banks, negotiate settlements, maybe sell the cabin up north. But we would do it on our terms now. No more secrets. No more silent sacrifices. Samantha didn't call back. Not that night. Not that week. And for the first time in months, I slept. 3 months after I filed the fraud report, I got a letter from the district attorney's office. Samantha had been contacted. A formal investigation was underway. She didn't call. Didn't write. No voicemail. No angry emails. It was like she disappeared, vanished into the silence she'd created, hoping it might shield her from consequences. But the thing about silence is, it doesn't erase the noise you left behind. It just mutes it for a while. The debts were still there. The damage still hung in the air like smoke after a fire. Claire and I started piecing our life back together, thread by cautious thread. We cut deals with creditors, settled 3 of the 5 accounts for partial payments. It cost us nearly everything we had in savings. We sold the cabin. We cashed out a chunk of our retirement fund. "You're doing the right thing," our lawyer said. Funny how hollow that sounds when you're emptying out 20 years of security to pay for someone else's lies. Lily asked about the cabin when summer came. "We had to let it go," I said. "Because of Aunt Sam?" I paused, then nodded. "Yes." She didn't cry, just went quiet. Kids, again, knowing more than they should. One Sunday afternoon, Claire and I drove to the coast. No special occasion. Just air. Just distance. The sky was overcast, the kind of gray that makes you nostalgic for things you never even liked. "I feel like I lost a limb," I said as we watched the waves. And no one noticed. Claire took my hand. I noticed, and that was enough. For now. Later that week, I got a letter. Handwritten. From Samantha. It was 5 pages long. Rambling. Emotional. Full of memories from when we were kids, bike rides, Christmases, the time I pulled her out of a frozen pond when she fell through the ice. She apologized. Again. Said she didn't recognize herself anymore. Said she was in therapy. Said she hoped one day I'd forgive her. But what stuck with me most wasn't the apology. It was one line, scribbled in the margin like an afterthought. "You were always the net. I always knew you'd catch me." That broke something in me I didn't know was still unbroken. Because she was right. I'd been her net, her buffer, her free pass. And every time she fell, I bled. Quietly, privately, until there was nothing left but skin and obligation. I didn't write her back. Forgiveness isn't a letter. It's a process. And sometimes, it's a decision not to reopen the wound. I didn't want revenge. I didn't need her punished. I just needed her gone. Months passed. The investigation stalled. It happens. Prosecutors weigh the costs. Family fraud cases are messy. Courts don't like them. Neither do juries. In the end, the system let her drift away, untouched, unharmed. But not me. I still get calls from agencies that haven't updated their files. Still get mail addressed to Mr. Samuel Hayes or S. Hayes and Company. But I also get quiet mornings now. I get coffee with Claire. I get to walk Lily to school. I get sleep. That's what betrayal really costs you, not just the money, but the years you spend climbing out of someone else's pit, with your trust fractured and your hope worn thin. I loved my sister. I still do, in some ancient, wounded part of me. But I don't owe her anymore. She cashed that bond. And I paid it. In full. Thanks for sticking around and listening to my story. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss more true life stories just like this one.